y'all, welcome back to Lucid Prana. I'm Jules for those of you that are new. Since my last video, been doing just that same sequence that we studied last video, was going over the same Yama and my same affirmation, but this week we are moving on and we're going to be moving on to flexibility. That's going to be what this whole sequence, what the next 2 weeks is going to be about, is just getting flexible, legs, back, just loosening up all the muscles that are super tight. So I've created some new goals for myself. I want to get a split eventually, which I cannot do a split. I used to kind of be able to do a split in high school. It just wasn't comfortable. So now I want to get to where I can sit down in a split and then a back bend. So those are my two new goals, and this whole sequence are baby steps pretty much to get to those goals. So I actually also, since last week, I got a yoga towel. I'm not sure how I'm gonna like it yet. So far I like it, but actually getting into the flow and things like that, I want to see if it ends up being something. So I'm gonna kind of keep you guys up to date on how I'm liking this. Pretty much my feet get sweaty whenever I'm doing some of these poses, especially when I'm doing like the warrior, the things that kind of strain, that it's kind of tough, but you gotta keep your legs wide and keep your feet like planted. Sometimes my feet get sweaty. So pretty much with a yoga towel, it's just like, it's not really like a beach towel or anything like that. It's just like a thin, soft material that it usually comes with a spray bottle that you missed, and it makes it kind of sticky, and your feet are nice and there's no slippage. Pretty much is what the goal is. So yeah, I'm going to keep you guys up to date on how that goes and if I like it, if it's worth trying out. But yeah, so that's pretty much it on what's been going on with me in the last week. So let's move on to our new stuff. So we're moving on from Yama number 2 and we're moving on to Yama number 3. Yama number 3 is Asteya, which is not stealing. So this one was really deep. I was pretty surprised because whenever I looked at it, I was like, not stealing, like that's pretty physical. Like I couldn't really think of anything mentally on how you could steal, I guess. So yeah, some things that I really did some research on this one, and I found that pretty much when you aren't in the present, you're stealing your time from yourself, worrying about other things. Whenever you're reliving the past, you're stealing your time from the present, from yourself. So with that being said, my affirmation going along with that is I'm giving myself, rather than stealing from myself, the gift of the present. So yeah, so that's it's good stuff, y'all. It's just pretty much keep getting back into the present. I actually, I don't know if you guys have watched that new show, Midnight Gospel. Y'all, I was not expecting what we got out of that. Me and my husband were just like, what? This is some good stuff. So if you can keep your brain following through all the conversation, there's a lot of like monotone conversation that goes along in the show, but if you can really keep your brain on track, you learn a lot of good stuff. And in one of the episodes, I can't remember, but his mom talks about this little exercise that she does to get herself into the present moment, pretty much meditation. So what she does is she says, feel your palms. Feel your palms. So pretty much like hold your hands out and just feel them. Feel them as they are presently. Then you move on to your arms, and then you go into your legs and your calves and then your abdomen, and then all of a sudden you feel your whole body. That works. It gets me into that meditative mindset within like 30 seconds, y'all. It's awesome. It has been, I didn't think that, I didn't know if it was a real tool or not, but I was like, might as well try it. It works. So that's just a little tip. And if you haven't watched the show, I recommend it. It's a little weird, but come on, y'all. I mean, this is yoga. We're all kind of weird. So, all right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about the asanas, the poses. Like I said, I'm really trying to work on using the actual terminology, yoga terminology for the poses. And something I wanted to say about how the Yama comes in play with the asanas, the poses this week is something that I read is that when you're telling yourself you're not good enough, when you're doing a pose, when you're going into a new, maybe a little bit tougher pose that you're not used to, and you're all about getting your body to match that picture. You're all about getting your body to look good enough in the pose instead of letting your body naturally feel it out and grow into the pose, because some of them you're not flexible enough to do the actual pose. So pretty much whenever you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, you're stealing yourself of that natural process that you're supposed to go through to perfect your poses. Okay, so in this sequence, you're going to see me using my yoga blocks a lot. Like I said, you can use books. I even read you can use a blanket rolled up. So if you have like a thicker blanket, you can fold it to a certain height. You can roll it to a certain height. You can ball it up to a certain height. I saw a lot of stuff like that instead of using a yoga block. However, if you do have a yoga block, which I found out you can actually get these at Walmart, they're by settings, and I didn't even realize this. So this is like the beginner setting, then you've got the medium, not beginner, but beginner, I guess it would be beginner, small, medium, large. There you go. Small, medium, and large. So you're going to see me using this for my bridge, and I'm starting out in medium. I tried the large setting too much. So yeah, just a little overview of how I'm using the yoga block. However, you don't have to. So it's just preference. It's just because some of these, I don't want to over flex my body, overstretch my body, and end up doing damage rather than, easing into it. So, all right, well, let's get started with the sequence. So I actually started with a new pose that I'm not used to doing. It's actually called the Hero4 Sauna. This I used instead of my normal Indian position, lotus position. You know how I always start out with my legs in crisscross position? I'm changing it up. I actually am trying out the Versana, which is another meditation pose that a lot of people start in their classes with, is what I read. But yeah, so it's an alternate for the lotus, and then it also stretches the thighs. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to get to try this one out, because we're talking about flexibility and we want to get those thighs stretched out. But the mistake I was making in this one is I was putting my knees, or not my knees, my heels right underneath my butt. It's supposed to be a little bit actually out, like along your hips whenever you're doing this. So as you can see, I actually put the yoga block in between my feet because I didn't want to strain my knees, because I could really feel it in my knees whenever I was trying to attempt this pose without the block, because my thighs need to stretch out a little bit more. So going through this one, 10 breaths, or really this one, I'm really just using it to get into my state of flow. I go into the fish pose next, which is the Matsyasana. You can see that I'm actually using yoga blocks in this one as well. This is completely for support. I do not want to hurt myself. The back is super sensitive, and you could if you don't have the right support. So you can see I'm actually putting it right along my shoulder blades. It's really right where your back bends is where you want to have a block or something to support it. And then I also have it I have that in medium height on my block, and then my head I have in short. So right behind each other, so that whenever I lean my head back, as you can see, I'm touching the support block, and then I remove it and then let my head fall back as much as it's comfortable. So this one opens the throat and chest and strengthens the neck and the back. So if you have back issues, this is a good one. So next I go into the bridge pose, which is the Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. This is a type of back bend. Back bends are energizing, actually, is what I read. So if you need a quick boost, if you do a back bend, you can have a quick natural pick-me-up. So this actually opens the shoulders and chest, strengthens the back, chest, glutes, and hamstrings, and it makes your spine more flexible. So, yeah, this is just pretty much the building block to get in a nice back bend. I just don't want to overstrain myself, so we're starting here. Next, we go into the reclining hand to big toe, the Sapta Padangasthasana. So in this one, I'm using a strap because I can't reach my heels. So we're pretty much strengthening the hips, thighs, hamstrings, groins, and calves, strengthening the knees, and relieving backaches. So this one's really good for your back too. So as you can see, that pretty much hits everything that you need in order to do a split. So this is kind of going into part of the sequence that is really getting into the muscles that you need to loosen up in order to be able to do a split. So I do this with both legs. Using my strap, I just put it on my heel, which I actually read the reason why yoga straps have that little belt loop is so that you can, I don't have it on me, but you can kind of loop it in and where it's tied around your ankle, and then you just strap it. So it's kind of just a single strap, and that's how you would do this instead of the way that I'm doing, having the two straps. It would be just one. So 10 breaths on this one. And then we're moving on to that one, and we're going into the Pigeon Pose. I like this one. It feels good. This one is a variation of the Ikapada Rajakapata Sauna, which is the King Pigeon. That one, obviously, I'm not ready for yet, if you look that one up. So this is just a beginner variation to this. It's a hip opener, stretches outer hips and your butt, and you don't want any knee sensation is what I read. If you feel any knee sensation, you need to back off because you don't want to hurt your knees. I use the yoga block on my head, as you can see, just to support that. And then I also use it on the other side of my hip. That's kind of just, it's not really balanced, so it gives it balance. It gives it support, so you're not straining or hurting your hip muscles. And then we just do the other side and do this for 10 seconds. And then going from the Pigeon Pose, we go into the Lizard Pose. This one's fun. They also call this the Runner's Pose or something like that, but it's Uttan Pristha Sauna. This one opens your hips, hamstrings, and your groins, strengthens quad, inner thighs, and strengthens stretches your abdomen, chest, and your shoulders. So this one, I saw two different variations, so I decided to put them together because one is just the stretch and one, it actually works a little bit of muscle. So as you can see, I am pretty much doing a lunge. Then you place your arms down on, I'm using the yoga blocks, you can use books, and then I lift that back leg up. So I'll do the stretch with the lunge, and then I'll pull my leg up almost into like a plank. So it kind of stretches out. You can feel it more in your thighs whenever you do that, and you're working your core. So okay, so going from the Lizard Pose, we're going into the half split. This one seems simple, but it's super important because you can feel it right in the upper hamstring area, I guess, where you're actually doing the split. So this one is called the Ardha Hanuman. And this strengthens legs, stretches spines, hips, and hams, and stimulates abdomen. So a little bit of the same stuff that the Lizard Pose did, but obviously that back leg needs to be straight, front leg needs to be straight, and then you can adjust your yoga blocks or whatever you're using to the height that feels good so you're not pulling anything. So do this on both legs, about 10, like I said, 10 breaths. Between 5 and 10 breaths is really the norm, is what I found. So you want to push yourself. All right, so going from the half split, we're going into the forward bend, which is the Uttanasana. This works all around stiff muscles. This one is all over, great for flexibility in your bottom half. I can't touch the ground yet. As I've seen lots of people doing this pose that can literally, they flat line their abdomen against their like knees. It's insane. So we're gonna get there, but we're starting out on using the yoga blocks. I think I actually end up turning them even from the small to the medium at one point. So just do whatever makes you comfortable. Then we're going into the reclining quad stretch, which is the Subcribe Sauna variation. This works the same muscles as whenever we did the twist in the last sequence. It's a variation pretty much of that one. You never want to feel pain in this pose. If you're feeling pain, you need to release because you don't want to overstretch. And then this stretches the thighs and the hips. So pretty much you're starting out with both knees against your chest. Say you're starting out with that left leg, you bring the opposite hand to that foot, pull it down, and then this leg just needs to remain up to your chest. So that's pretty much it. It feels good. It's a really good stretch. It helps those muscles that are also, they're like rotating, you know, because you're bringing this up. It's kind of opposite. So these joints right here are really working to where you can go down into a split. So yeah, so reclining quad stretch, don't overstretch. Going from this one, you're still staying on the ground. We're going into the reclining pigeon pose. So this is just like a variation of the pigeon pose. And this one, laying on your back, you do want to start out with your legs up to your chest like on the past pose. And then instead of doing any wonkiness with this other leg, this leg is literally just staying up. And this leg's ankle is going to the other leg's knee. And then you're just laying back, and then you just kind of want to easily push on your outer thigh or knee out so you can feel that inner stretch. So you do that, both sides, 10 seconds. And then we go into ending on the Hero4 Sauna. We're just ending with that, just like we, like I'll usually end in the corpse pose or something kind of easy. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the sequence. Lots of stretches, not a lot of core strengthening stuff like I usually had in the sequences. There's usually one or two of those, but this time I really wanted to focus on flexibility. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you. Like I said, flexibility, we're focusing on flexibility. Flexibility is a journey within itself. So we have to have patience. So these are the baby steps that are going to get us to where we want to be slowly. So if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. Share it if you feel like you want to share it. And I can't wait to see what we can do within this week, you guys. So I will see you next time. Bye.